Hello fish friends, welcome to Desktop Aquatics. Today we are doing a species spotlight on Pseudomugil Mellis, otherwise known as the honey blue eyes. Alright, so let's do a little rundown on this fish. So they are typically found in Queensland, Australia. They were described by Gerald Allen and Walter Ivanstoff in 1982. These fish are commonly found in slow-moving streams, peat swamps, and other canopied streams in the Queensland area. There were originally 30 distributions when they were found in 1982. That has declined drastically over the last 30 or so years as urbanization has threatened the species, as well as draining swamps and cutting down canopied streams for agriculture. In Australia, they're listed as just a vulnerable species, but as the ICUN Endangered Species Act has listed them in the U.S. as an endangered species. They are not very commonly found in this hobby. There are a few people who breed them, and there are some that are commercially available, but it's few and far between. You can sometimes find them from Dance Fish, Moonlight Aquatics, or as I found them on Aquabid. You'll rarely find them in stores, but I'm sure you can ask. So how do I keep these fish? I keep them indoors and outdoors. I try to maintain a group in both as I can. Most prolific breeding will be in tubbing outdoors, but I have gotten them to breed inside. So in terms of tank conditions and water parameters, I keep them low TDS near 0, and then a pH of around 6 to 6.5. They can definitely tolerate pHs up to 7 and pHs much lower, but it seems unnecessary. You can normally maintain these water parameters with just RO water. In terms of temperatures, they can survive a wide range of temperatures, anywhere from 55 to 105 in my experience. Typically that sweet spot for them, at least for breeding, I have found is 68 to 74. That range seems to be when they're spawning the most, and I find the most fry at the top of the tanks. I will not see any sort of breeding from tubs, typically midsummer when I was in Tucson. The water is too hot. It's in that 90 to 100 degrees most of the day, and then at night it'll drop to like mid 80s. So I'm finding most fry spring and fall. And those parameters were pretty similar to when I saw fry in my tanks indoors as well. So let's talk about what I'm typically feeding these fish. I am normally feeding a combination of bug buffet and baby brine shrimp. I'll feed fry, powder foods, vinegar eels, any sort of microfoods like that. And then the adults will take lots of frozen and lots of live foods. They don't typically do as well on flakes or pellets, but I have gotten them to start taking bug buffet regularly when it's crumpled up. Let's talk about tank mates. I would stray away from anything boisterous, any large tetras, large rainbows, barbs. I would stick to like celestial pearl danios, other pseudomugils if you're not breeding, and lots of ground-dwelling, bottom-feeding fish. So I keep mine with a group of Aldophi corridoras because the water parameters are very similar, and if I can get breeding from both Aldophi corries and Mellis in a tank, that's a win-win for me. Let's talk about how I breed these fish. So I breed with mops in the tank, but I do not pull eggs. They don't lay a lot of eggs. They're not prolific in any sort of capacity. You'll typically see 2 to 3 eggs a day, if that. But you'll always find fry in the tank. If you have any floating plants or any algae in the tank, you'll start seeing fry. And I'll kind of show you how I'm pulling fry later, especially from my tubs. I try to keep a lot of algae in the tank. I've found a lot of evidence to suggest that they do enjoy the algae and will consume it on an anecdotal basis. I'd have to do more research into why that is, but it's just an anecdotal thing that I've noticed with these fish. They will eat their eggs quickly, and they will eat fry just as fast. So that's why having anything floating in there for fry to hide in is extremely important. But they won't tend to bother any other fish. So this is a video of my first pond. My second pond looks just the same for my second year. Lots of floating plants. I had Bacopa and Amazon swords in there just for any cover. And then this is my big trick to keeping the fry alive from the parents and just growing them out in the pond. This is a bucket sieve. Dean suggested this to me a few years ago, and it worked as a charm. A lot of Medaka breeders will do the exact same thing. So this just gives the fry a place to hide out away from the parents so that they aren't predating on those fry. Here you can kind of see I moved all the floating plants out. It's hard to see, but there's a lot of fry in there. You can definitely see in this video all the fry. So they can be quite prolific outdoors. Indoors, you'll rarely see more than a few fry at a time. So this is them indoors when I pulled out all my fry from the tank. And this is that group today. So this will be my next generation from my original group. These are a few months old from this summer. I will be breeding these in the future. And if you're looking for any, contact me on my social medias, Instagram, Facebook, anything like that. And if you like this species spotlight, please let me know. Leave a like and subscribe. Thank you guys.